Oh, hey there. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a nice car. And in fact, I don't need to tell you that. You've already gone on Auto Trader like the rest of the world and have seen how these cars and many other exotics from this era have depreciated. An amazing buy, right? No, a dangerous buy. Let me tell you why. I've owned this car for 4 years and I had the same idea as you. Except for, you know how sometimes things go wrong with certain cars, you have to get lucky. I got unlucky because everything went wrong with my car. In fact, that's what the point of this video is today. I'm going to tell you the 5 things that are catastrophically and potentially going to go wrong if you buy your dream depreciated Aston Martin Vantage. Don't believe me? Well, let me show you. Bear with me 1 second. For starters, here are my service records. It's like a Harry Potter book, for Christ's sake. Don't believe paper? No problem. 1 second. Here's my old headlight. Here's my old tail light. Here's my old transmission. Here's my old brakes. Now, the point of this video is not to scare you. The point of this video is to inform you. I love this car, but I'm going to tell you why you should hate it. So sorry, it seems as though I've forgotten to introduce myself. My name is Dylan from If Cars Could Talk, and believe it or not, I'm not an alcoholic. Even though there's beer in my hand, the fact that I'm wearing a bathing suit, I'm in my garage, it's a weekday, does say otherwise. But these are very different times during quarantine time because, well, the work isn't exactly rushing in. So I used all my spare time today to call Aston Martin to ask them exactly how much all the things I'm going to go over with you guys today are, so that, well, not only you know exactly what the hell is going to happen, but you know how much it's going to cost when you have to pay for it.
All right, so in the office right now, about to get some quotes from Aston Martin. Let's give them a call. See how expensive this car really is.
Good afternoon, Aston Martin Sales. This is how may I help you?
Could you put me through to in the service department? It's a real accent.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Put me through right now. Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers. I'm actually an automotive YouTuber, so there's no way just to get the prices quickly from you just for it?
I can give you the parts prices only, not the labor prices.
Okay, that's fine. What else have you noticed are things to look for on the Vantages of my year?
Had any headlights, really?
Just me then, I guess. But I love it. I feel like an abused spouse sometimes because I keep coming back to my car and I don't care how many things go wrong with it.
You know what? I'd better close that garage. My neighbors already think I'm crazy and I'm talking to a camera right now. So while I'm inebriated, I figured it'd be a good time to go through number 1, the lights. And I have a whole lot of Aston Martin on my lap. Now this is a very important point because this is one that's bound to hit all of you. It's the condensation in the taillights. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's a very, very, very common thing. And it can get bad to the extent where the taillight can fail. You see, if it rains, it actually can form little puddles in here, which can fry the LEDs, and it's not like changing a light bulb. I think it's due to because of these little lenses separate, and the biggest problem is it affects everyone because not only the Vantage owners get these, the DB9 guys do too, because Aston Martin was going through a weird time. I don't think they had any money, and they just shared all the parts, so these cars are all freaking parts bins. But regardless, when these fail, it's $2,100 for the entire set. That's third brake light, both tail lights. Now another little weird funny thing is when these cars were actually modern and out at the time, The taillights were specifically left out of the warranty in the fine print. I wonder if Aston Martin knew something. Now, besides this, I've actually brought my headlight here today, this beautiful little ornament. Not because it's really going to be a common issue with you guys. I've done a little research. I don't think it's going to really happen to you, but my headlight failed, lucky me, and it's even more expensive. It's actually $3,350. So, yeah. Alright, so number 2 is the locks. You see, those things tend to fail, and it can be quite expensive. Although that was stupid because it's really all expensive. But let me kind of tell you what my experience was. So essentially, I would open my door, and the locks would just go on and off, but repeatedly forever, and it would be really loud, obnoxious, and annoying. You wouldn't want to, like, basically drive a nail through your head. And it wasn't so great on dates either, because girls would be like, nice, impressive Aston Martin, and then it would go duck, 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 duck. That's my impersonation of the locks, and I'd have to put the music on so they wouldn't hear it at all. It was weird, though, because as soon as I closed the door, it would shut up and not make any noise anymore. But I'd open the passenger door and it'd go duck, 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 duck. I know my voice is annoying, but whatever. And it would stop when I closed the door, and I'd open the trunk and it'd do the same thing. It was driving me insane. And even though I knew it would be expensive, I eventually went to Aston Martin. Now, they're usually going to have to be the ones that do this because there's programming involved. But basically, there's a few things that kind of tie into this. There's the modules, which is kind of the brain, and you have one in each door. So each of those need to be replaced. And then in addition to that, it's the tumblers, which I think are actually the mechanisms as well that kind of like control the actual locking and unlocking. And then they have to also program keys. It gets really expensive. So the keys are $100. The modules are like $500 as well. And then it's like $760 to configure, or it says configure file update. I don't even know what this stuff is, but basically there's a mysterious charge for $760 there. Ended up being $1,773. So yeah, that's quite expensive. And the weird thing that I also ended up finding out is that this tends to be an issue on a lot of cars from this era. So like earlier 2000 cars, we're talking Bentley Arnages, Ferrari 360s, and of course the Aston Martin Vantage along with its brother, the DB9. So, all right, what is next? So many expenses. Ah, that's a good one. Let's go to the engine. Now, like any good maintenance video, it wouldn't be complete without opening the hood. In a very cliche manner, these things tend to, well, not be too bad. But there is one big problem. The timing cover tends to leak, and that can be $560. Now, that's without labor. Another thing that I personally experienced, because I have higher miles on my car, and this is just something you're going to encounter, is the belt drive and the pulleys are going to need to be replaced. Now, usually they're done together. Either way, one of them will go without the other. But that can be $80 for the belt drive and $90 for the pulley. But because you're going to these expensive, fancy places, like $240 an hour, which is, I think, at Aston Martin, it's going to be close to $700 when you're all said and done, just for the pulleys and the belt drive. So up here can be kind of expensive with those two things. Luckily, I haven't encountered the other one. But nonetheless, they're incredibly solid, tried, trued, tested, whatever other T's you want to know, engines. And they're quite great to work on. Ow! God! That was real. Trying to look cool, Dylan. Trying to look cool. Ow. Well, here we go again. These stupid doors. Here's number 4. It has to do with the struts in these doors. They tend to fail. And when they do, they crush you like a Dylan sandwich. In fact, it's more accentuated on hills. The main reason being is because Aston Martin had to go ahead and invent their own door. They're called swan doors. They kind of go up like this. I don't know why it's swan door. Maybe because the wings go like... Regardless, I have no idea. They're useful in the sense that it won't scrape a curb because Aston Martins tend to be low. But they're not useful in the sense because they pivot so high. If you're on a hill and it's kind of on the end of its life, and I guess the struts have lost the gas or whatever is inside of them, they won't be able to hold themselves anymore. And it's not a terrible thing. I mean, it's only about $80 to replace, but it's something that absolutely occurs on every single Aston Martin. In fact, there's a little sticker here just to tell you when it was last replaced. Now, wow, that's very up close and personal. Hold on. Oh, yeah. All right, that's a little better. Let's pretend like I'm opening this for the first time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, so for my fifth and final point, I'd like to leave room here for just the normal maintenance and parts costs that you're going to have to deal with when, well, you're buying into a brand like Aston Martin. Obviously, we all know these have depreciated. They're cheaper to buy, I get it. But the problem is you're buying into a car that was really quadruple the price of what you're paying for it. And that means the parts will demand the same thing. The labor does too. For instance, my clutch kind of gave out a little while ago, and to replace it, I was quoted like $7 or $8 grand. That's obviously kind of replacing everything. I didn't do that, of course. I took microns off of it and resurfaced the clutch, and it ended up being fine, like $350. But things as well like, well, if you're going to do a brake job, these are my old brake pads, recently replaced them. I use some aftermarket ones, but if you want to get OEM ones, it's like $800 for a full set. In addition to that, if you want to do normal things like an annual service, well, today I actually got quoted from Aston Martin for a full 4-year service. So what did that include? That included coolant, oil, wiper blades. They replaced the key fob battery, brake fluid, cabin filters. They do the tranny oil, washer fluid. All of those things for $2,300. So, you know, all of these things add up. So the big question is, you can afford to buy one of these, but can you afford to maintain it? Really, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and ignore everything I just said. Because you know what? When I was 22 and I bought this car, I did. Was it stupid? Absolutely, it was stupid. But this car brings me more joy than I can tell you. You know, you can never judge people that drive their exotic cars. Well, okay, you can probably judge a good portion of them. But for me, this fulfills my soul. If I were to pass away or die tomorrow, I did something that fills my heart. This car, just driving it, the involvement, how visceral it is, how analog it is. I know everyone goes on and on about the old school, but this truly is the last of one of the old school cars. It must be one of the most beautiful cars ever made. It must be one of the most amazing sounding. It's naturally aspirated. It's rear wheel drive. It's 2-seaters. It's so focused, beautiful, pure. It makes me smile when I look at it. It makes me smile when I drive it. When I'm walking away from it, I turn back and look at it again. Anyway, let me shut up because I just want to show you rather than continue to tell you. That alarm off. Sorry. Oops. Yes, I know I shouldn't sit on it, but I wanted to look cool and I ran out of angles. All right. But I just want to close off here today. I really hope this video was informative to you. There is so much crap on the internet where people try to tell you, oh, 5 things this, 5 things that. It doesn't actually help you. I'm frustrated just like you. I want just a slap in the face if I'm going to buy a car like this. I want to know everything I'm going to feel before I have to feel it. And that is a genuine, really sum up of this car. I know this car well. I've experienced every crappy thing that has to happen with it. And, you know, I tried selling this a couple times, but I came out in the end just still wanting it. You know, I feel like an abused housewife. I keep getting hit and just terrorized by this thing. Something breaks, I have to pay for it, but I keep coming back for more somehow. But me, that's the beauty of this car. It's an oxymoron. It's not perfect, it's pure. But regardless, guys, I'm putting everything down below, kind of all the prices, everything, all the breakdowns as well. And I just hope that this is a guide to all of you who are trying to get into something depreciated like this. It's a wonderful car, but it certainly needs to be, you know, a car that you're warned about before you buy it. Now guys, next things I have to tell you all is if you want to see what type of equipment I use, check the Amazon links below. Guys, if you like the video, give it a damn like, and you know what, you better subscribe too. Thank you so much for watching. Peace!